Welcome to Communicative English class. Today we are going to discuss a topic called communication. What is the word communication means? Communication is simply the act of transferring information from one place, person, or group to another. Man has been using language as a tool of communication for centuries. It has enabled him to interact with the environment and to regulate his social behavior. Though there are a number of means of communication, language is the most widely used instrument. Man communicates meaning through a sophisticated system of symbols. The word communication is derived from the Latin term communicare or communico, both of which means to share. Communication is the process of transferring signals, messages between a sender and a receiver through various mediums and methods. Communication is also the mechanism we use to establish and modify our relationship with people around us. Effective communication is very important and essential component in any organizations. 75% of our time is spent in communicating with others. Most of the time we are in communication with others either verbally or non-verbally. Communication is not merely transmission of meanings from one person to another one through symbols. It implies that the system of communication is commonly owned, accepted, and recognized by the members of a community. It enables them to acquire, exchange, store, retrieve, and process information. Communication is thus essentially a social affair. Look at the picture shown in the video very closely. The process of communication contains many elements: sender, encoding, message, decoding, receiver, feedback, response, noise. The sender selects appropriate symbols to suit the situation and realize the meaning through speech or writing, depending upon the socially regulated requirements or self-perceived needs. At the receiving end, the symbols are identified, and identification obviously implies recognition and realization of meaning through the interpretative process. The entire event takes place within a common frame of reference, also called communication environment. The source refers to the point of origin of a message which is encoded by the sender and transmitted through the channel to the receiver. The receiver of the message exercises an impact in communication environment, leading to some result. The observance of the result by the sender is called feedback. The message sent is not the same as the message received. For this number of factors, which we may collectively termed as noise or responsible, we shall look at it later. This is also to be noted that all the messages do not produce the intended result. Thus, the success of the communication is measured in terms of not only the effective communication of the message but also the achievement of the intended results. Communication is thus a network of interaction, and naturally, the sender and the receiver keep on changing their roles. Next, we are going to discuss the topic types of communication. There are many ways that people communicate. General types of communication include verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, and the last one is visualization. spoken or verbal communication, which includes face to face, telephone, radio, or television, and other medias. Verbal communication is the sharing of information through speech. It includes the information that people hear on radios, television, telephones, speeches, and interviews. Effective verbal communication incorporates the use of interpersonal skills. Factors that contribute to the effectiveness of verbal communications are the clarity of voice and perception and listening skills of the recipient. Nonverbal communication is conducted through eye contact, posture, gesture, facial expression, chronemics, and habitus. Written or spoken words are not only means of sharing a message. When there is no use of words and the recipient understands what the sender is asking, then it is known as nonverbal communication. Use of pictures, symbols, and graphs can help a person communicate effectively. Even hairstyle and clothing of a person conveys information regarding his nature. Written communication, that is written in many forms, from emails and text to old-fashioned pen and paper. Written communication includes the kind of information transfer where the encoding of a message is done in written form. The message may only be written in words, or it may include different symbols or sometimes even machine codes. Writing message is developed while taking the audience into consideration. Different audience have different levels of perspective abilities. Visualizing is a form of communication where one can use photographs, drawing, charts, and graphs to convey information through it. Social media has provided the world with a type of visual communication that has to connect us across the world. Zoom, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and many other social media platforms have added a new dynamic to how we communicate with one another. Other kind of visual include signs and symbols which were used in presentations. However, the challenges for sharing information over time have majorly been resolved, but still there are some barriers that hinder the communication process. We have two main barriers. One is personal barrier, another one is systematic barrier. Personal barrier. Communication carried between individuals is greatly influenced by one's capability of speaking and writing. If the message is not written or spoken well, it may make the message and its meaning ambiguous for the receiver. The receiver may face difficulty in understanding the information, and there are high possibilities that he may convince wrong information. So a message must be written in such a way and with words that intended recipient can easily understand. Next one is systematic barrier. Systematic or structural barriers, which can be defined as barriers that one encounters during the communication process when there is a lack of credibility or familiarity with the source of information. Sarcasm or irony are both examples of systematic barrier disturbing the communication process. A common example of this is when someone tells a joke and the other person doesn't understand it. Lack of familiarity with the sender and the receiver can lead to misunderstanding. Apart from these two barriers, there are some other basic barriers we commonly already know that. I hope you have all enjoyed my class. If you have any doubt, you can ask me or you can mention in the comment section given below. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Thank you.